Sophomores, welcome to week 10 of Multimedia Design in the first week of the semester. So in the past semester, we accomplished a lot. We developed your Illustrator skills with your design skills by creating your own infographics. And then we moved into developing your sound design skills by making your own with projects. So now for the next semester, we are going to focus on the concept of web design. So over the summer, we started thinking about design and the components of design and how everything has a purpose to it, and that is the way that it's designed. With web design, you're bringing auditory, text, illustrations all together into an internet page. So you are combining all of those skills that you basically learned so far into a website. And that is what we are going to be doing. So when you think about web design, I want you to remember those design components that you learned. But first, let's review the goals of this unit as a whole. So we are bringing together multimedia. And by multimedia, I mean like text, auditory skills, pictures, all of the things that you've learned, including design. We are going to increase your design skills with visual components, audio, and even more. So all of those skills that you've learned will come in very handy during this unit, along with the skills that you will gain of coding in HTML and CSS. You'll learn HTML and CSS throughout the entire semester. You'll learn file organization, which soon you'll come to learn how important it is when you're coding. And then you'll make a website that is meaningful to you, and I'll emphasize that point, meaningful to you. So the content of this website is created in a joint effort with academics, so you will be using your academic skills and things that you're doing in there, and Bobby in that course will help you develop the content for this website. And that is why it's going to be meaningful to you. So it's a very personal journey and a very personal project. So at the end, you'll come out in May with a website that you'll love. So when you think about web design, more specifically and more in depth, you should be thinking about three main coding languages that come to mind. The first one being HTML, and HTML allows you to create the content that goes into your page. So kind of the very basic structure of your website comes from HTML. Then you will probably be thinking about CSS, which is cascading style sheets. And this allows you to work more on the design component of your website. So how it looks, the way that something is structured, the colors, the fonts, they all go together. And then for this one, you will be thinking about JavaScript, which is how you bring in the interactive components of your website into this whole coding experience. During this course, we will not be working so much with JavaScript, but it is a very good component to know. We will be focusing more on HTML, and if you're wondering what HTML stands for, it's Hypertext Markup Language, but for short, we just call it HTML, and that's going to give you the bare bones. And then CSS, which is Cascading Style Sheets, which will give you kind of the design component of your website. So now let's talk about your website and what this website is going to look like. So you will have 5 HTML pages, and you'll start with a splash page, which is what lets you into a website. You'll go into your About Me. You'll do a Leader in My Community page. You'll record an interview, and then you'll do a Looking Forward page. And this Looking Forward page will contain 3 main components: study skills, leadership skills, and tech skills. So what are you looking for within these 3 categories? And again, the content for your website, it's really coming from academics and that joint effort that we're doing with them in order for you to come up with a content and a website that is meaningful to you. So now you may be wondering how we're going to get there, and we are not just going to throw you into this just on your own and right away. We are actually going to start working with a website that we already have. So Kim was an instructor that was here up to this summer, and she created a website last year for this course that has the information that your website will have. So it basically has the same components, and she made it about her mom. So we are going to actually take that website and break it apart. So we will be coding it page by page so that you learned kind of the basics of HTML and CSS through this. So you will be coding it, you will be hacking it. We will be doing all sorts of things with this website in order for you to learn HTML and CSS like the back of your hand. So these are some of the important course dates that I want you to keep in mind. So Kim's finished website, so after we're done taking it apart, recoding it, hacking it, all of that will be due by February 16th. I want you to look at this date, so that is winter cohort. It will be 2 different due dates for Oneida and LDF. I just put the last one, but it will be due around February 16th, and we will finish that together at winter cohort. Your website final design, which will be an Illustrator file. You will go into Illustrator and design what your website will look like. That will be due on March 25th. And then your website rough draft will be due on April 28th. And then we will end the semester with your website final draft being due on May 5th. So it will take us an entire semester to get there, but you will get there, I promise. So let's look at Kim's website and kind of what that looks like. So this is her website. And again, she made it about her mom. So that's why she has a banner at the top that says she inspires me. And then you'll see that this is her About Me page. So she has a heading and she has paragraphs within that. And she has her About Me button for that page, her My Leader, an interview, and a Looking Forward. So it basically has the same components that your website will have. This is more of a visual representation. So this is more looking at that CSS that she worked with. You see some of that design skills and it all goes together. Now, this is the HTML or the coding for that website. And you'll see that it may be a little scary at first when you first look at it, and that is okay. But I promise you that no matter how complicated it may look like, it is not that complicated and you will get to understand this. So you'll just see that there's just different components to this code, and you will learn that within the next couple of weeks. I just want you to get used to looking at it. So what are we actually doing this week? So by Sunday, you will have your weekly quiz. So I'm easing you back into the semester. We're not jumping into all of the content yet. So your weekly quiz will be 7 questions, and it'll be about the content that's in this video. And I'll also be, from now on, uploading the presentations that I'm using to help you out. So you can reference back to that presentation to help you out. But now let's walk through Canvas, again, what your week is going to look like. So we're on week 10. You'll watch your video first, which is a video that you're looking at right now. You have your week 10 presentation in case that you want to refer back to it. And then you'll have your week 10 quiz. And I can give you a preview of that. So you'll have your question. So in your own words, what is web design? What does HTML stand for? What does CSS stand for? In your own words, what does JavaScript do for your website? I will be looking, if you understood, what pages go into your website and when your website is due. And then the last one, it's again just a question to kind of go back into being in this familiar setting with each other. And it's just the reason as to why you decided to join ITA. You may choose to write as much or as little as you want. But that is really what your week is going to look like. Are there any questions at this time? Yes.
So for this week, we just study this video and make sure we understand it so we can answer the questions for the quiz?
Yep, that is all that will be on this week's quiz. It's just content from this video and from the presentation.
One more question. Is there anything that I could do to start looking at HTML or CSS between now and next week if I have extra time?
If you have extra time, you're definitely more than welcome to do so. You don't have to, but there are websites like we've talked about. There's Lynda, where you can be looking at videos for both of them, for HTML and CSS. You can contact us. We have different material through a student training software, which we'll be actually using in this class. But in case you want it ahead of time, you're more than welcome. You can use the internet for those resources, but if you have the time, you're more than welcome to do so. If there's no more questions at this time, that's it for this week, and see you next week.